Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Built Different podcast. In studio with me, I have a good friend, Aaron Webster. We worked together in the 6th District for several years, so I'm going to let him introduce himself.
My name is Aaron Webster. I used to be in District 6 from 2001 to 2009. Got transferred to some other stuff. Came back in the summer of 2018. That's where I met young Colin here and the rest of the squad. And then I retired in 2022 and went on to, I wouldn't say bigger things, but a little better things. And here I am again. So good to meet you.
Where are you at right now?
I currently work for, the federal government as a federal police officer. It's kind of more of a protect the assets type of thing. There's no more. We do have some patrol, but it's around the facility. So there's no more running and gunning. My biggest thing of the day is, good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am. Have a nice night, sir. Have a nice night, ma'am. No more, running and gunning and dragging down.
Yeah. So let's start from the beginning. So young Aaron Webster, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in North St. Louis. I guess we would say the Fairground Park, Penrose neighborhood. I lived in the 4200 block of Athlone, across the street from Yeatman School. My mom moved there in August of 1990. Still own the house. Recently lost the roof in the garage with the tornado.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but she's maintaining. My mom had just moved because she was in the process of selling it and downsizing. But we're good to go on that end. But yeah, that was like not my childhood home, but like from 14 until I moved out was basically my home, and it's where all my kids went, and all my nieces and nephews and everybody in the family. That was like the go-to spot. Was my mom's a grandma and a great-great-grandma, so that was the spot to be.
So having family in the district that you worked in, what was kind of the dynamic for that? I'm sure that there was a lot more, all of us up there, we all had, certain, like we felt it, but I feel like having family that lived there in that area and policing that area, I feel like it's a whole different dynamic.
Yeah, man, I lucked up because when I was in the academy, I lived in South St. Louis. I lived on 2600 block of Rucker in the old 3rd District. And when I got assigned to the 6th District, I was like, man, I get to go home. This is what I know. But I didn't know, I lived there for half my life, but I never experienced Baden. I knew some places in Walnut Park because I had family lived over there, and where I'm from in the Fallon Park neighborhood. But it was different beasts coming up. You got your street crime and your gangs. 'Cause I lived in the middle of 4-4 Bud and the College and Carter Bloods and 6 Deuce East Coast Crips. It was just like a mile down the way, and so I was heavily recruited, but I never, joined the gang. But, I was one of those guys that was like too thuggish to be a nerd and too nerdy to be a thug. I was just kind of like in between, but people just left me alone because I was always a loner, and I had a big family. So, I can't come home and say, Mom, I got beat up, because you got 30 people come out of the house, like, where? But, I didn't have any issues like that, but it was not a hard upbringing, but growing up in a neighborhood where it's, crime is everywhere. You just kind of get in where you fit in, what to do, what not to do, but who's who. So I was comfortable when I graduated the academy and came out to the 6th District. I was just going back home.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of, and I'm sure it gives you a special insight, kind of where things fall, and obviously it gives you a more personable relationship with the community. You care a little bit more. Not that other officers don't care, but I just feel like policing in your own community gives you a whole different insight on.
Yeah. When I was coming up, I didn't really have any aspirations to be a policeman.
Right.
I just, funny story. I used to work at the Enterprise Center where the Blues played, and I also worked at Busch Stadium. So I had two part-time jobs, and I was walking from Enterprise Center to Busch Stadium one day, going to the baseball game, and the old headquarters is right in between.
Right.
So I passed by there, and I stopped and I said, "Well, I'll put in an application. They're never gonna, can hire me." So, and that thing's like a damn booklet. So I take it home, fill it out, and I turn it back in. And I was one of those people growing up where I always tried to keep the peace.
Yeah.
We all like to, see a good fight, but I don't like to see like people getting like ransacked and, just getting tore down. And
Yeah.
'cause now they don't fight anymore. They just shoot you.
Yeah.
And so I always thought like, why not get paid for what I do naturally? I keep the peace and you just try to keep the neighborhood peaceful, And, I filled it out and, got back that I was going to be the class of 01-2. You're a little bitty guy then. Yeah, I've been in policing a long time, man. And, the rest is kind of history, man. I just stuck it out and, graduated from the academy in February 02. Got assigned to the 6th District B platoon and met some nice people and started my career.
Let's talk about early on career. Some of the stuff, and then we'll roll into kind of how things changed over the years. So early on in your career, what are some of the stories or things that you saw early on?
Let me see. Okay, I guess one of the things that really kind of shaped the way I did things in my career was in a roll call one day. It was August 9th, 2007. We get a call at Riverfront Park. That's at Hall Street, Riverview. Nothing but the Mississippi River and this little boat ramp, and it says a guy and his son are in the river, and they're like the boat capsized, something like this. That's how it came out, straight out of roll call. So I get the call, got an assist, and we're hitting the wheels, hauling ass all the way from the station to down there, and we got there in probably less than 10 minutes, and that we was rolling. And we get there, and EMS are working on these kids. I thought they were like they looked like baby dolls because they were in the mud. And come to find out, the call had got upgraded while we were coming there, saying that this guy had smothered his two kids in the mud. And I'm staring at the EMS guys, and they're pumping on and working on this kid, and it's a little bitty baby, and it was a brother and sister, same dad, different, but they had different mothers. I believe the son's name was Kanye, yeah, Kanye Anderson, I believe, and his sister's name was like Tony Moore. And the little girl, she had a footprint on her back because I guess her dad had stepped on her to keep her submerged because she tried to get up. Her brother he toppled over and then he just, suffocated in the mud. So EMS were there working on him, and I'm just, kind of standing there like froze, looking at him like, and after a couple minutes go by, and I'm like, man, you guys, you can go ahead and stop, because they're pumping mud out of these kids. There's no air or water coming out, and the EMS guy's like, we got to keep going. I was like, man, them babies gone. And when he said we got to keep going, I just kind of just like froze, like, keep going from what? And the suspect, he wasn't there. He had walked off and up Spring Garden up into the county, and St. Louis County ended up tasing him like twice. We didn't get a chance to confront him. Had we confronted him, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation because he the guy was coming to him. But his sister was there, and apparently he had called her, told her what he was doing, told her where he was, and why he was doing this was like, he said the mom had, he was paying child support. He had just lost his job, and one of the moms put him on child support, and it was like he took the kids out with him for the whole day, and they had an APB out on his dad because the dad was with them too, but he had dropped dad off at home before he decided to do what he did. And At the time, I only had one kid. I had one daughter at the time, and she might have been probably like 8, 6 or 7, like that. And I wasn't married yet, and that just always stuck with me. Like, how could you hurt your own kids? I mean, kill yourself. You know, if that's what you want to do. I don't advocate that either, but that's what you want to do. Fine, but take 2 kids that have anything to do with what you got going on is just that's heartless, man. And it's just like I'll never forget that because one of my lieutenants was calling me, and the major was there, and all the big wigs and all the white shirts were there, and they were just calling me, and I was standing there looking at the silhouette that we put down for homicide victims, and they're calling me. I don't even hear them. I'm just standing there looking at them like at the spot where those babies were, and I'm just like, man, how could this so and so just do this to his own kid?
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the early stories. This was back in like 07.
Mm-hmm.
Another I guess horror story was in 05, a couple of years before that. I'm driving down Broadway by the old Wonder Bread, 6200 North Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
I get a call for a accident leaving the scene. And I get there, there's a pole kind of leaning, but there's nobody around. And I'm like, well, no victim, no car.
Yeah.
Code in dispatcher. So I'm pulling off, and I'm going about 5-10 minutes, and she calls me back. And well, there was a witness.
Mm.
That's I'm like, Jesus Christ, there's nothing here. It was a nice day out there at that time. And long story short, dispatch said the car drove down like McKessock and back. I was all industrial over there, back in that part of Baden. So I go down, and sure as shit, I find this. It was like a '87 Bronco, not the OJ Bronco, but it was brown, and the whole front of it is caved in, and it's leaking antifreeze. It's behind this truck repair stop, this big rig truck repair stop, in the middle of like nowhere, but it's behind Broadway, so you can't see it from the street.
Right.
So keep in mind, I'm back there, and I see the truck. I said, oh, well, it's empty. I noticed he had like a rifle in the back and some other stuff, but the doors were locked. So I'm out there running information on it, and I'm writing the tow slip up. Told dispatcher where I was, what I got going on, and this guy comes out the door. It's a tall white dude, looks like Willie Nelson, but he wasn't that old.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes walking out, never says a word. And I'm like, sir, this your truck? And he just stood there, just stone faced, 1,000-yard stare, didn't say a word. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna tow it anyway. And so he walks back in the building. And when he came out, he had like a black jeans, cowboy boots, cowboy hat, stringy, like wet hair. Had one of those old members only jackets on.
Mm-hmm.
It was open. So you saw his little cowboy shirt. So he goes back in, and about 5 minutes pass, and my tow is en route. And I got 1 foot out the car and 1 foot in the car because I was, I didn't know anybody was in that building. So now I know somebody's there. I don't want to get caught, just sitting down. So as I'm writing the tow slip out, this voice in my head is kind of screaming like, you get that, it's like, Aaron, get out of the car. Aaron, get out of the car. It was like, Aaron, get out of the fucking car. And I'm like I'm looking like the hair on my neck, and I didn't have very much hair, but it's like standing up, and right as it's going off in my head, here comes the same dude. And I'm like, young man, can I help you? So I got out the car, and he goes, what you gonna do about my truck? I said, I'm getting ready to tow it. I was involved in an accident. And he goes, well, you about to have a fucking problem. And he unzips it. Now his jacket's zipped up. He unzips it. He said he's a 22 pistol. It's about this fucking long in his waistband. And we're about maybe 10, 12 feet apart. And I'm like, this guy's going to shoot me because I'm towing his truck. So all my emotions are going on. I'm like, man, I'm not going to die right here. I can't die right here. I just rush him. and he didn't even get a chance to put his hands up because I rushed him and he's a skinny guy, so I grabbed him and I like slam him, like belly to back slam him, and when I hit the ground, it was like all the air came out of him.
Mm-hmm.
Told dispatcher where I was. I get the gun from him and I, kind of smacked him around a little bit because at this point I'm kind of crying because I'm like, you gonna kill me because I'm towing your truck? Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And they couldn't find me because this place
You're in a weird spot.
Yeah, and dispatcher kept saying, I was 624. 624, where are you? I'm like, I'm literally a couple hundred feet from where the call was, but I'm in a industrial part, so you got to drive over here and make a left here, make it right there. But anyway, they couldn't find the shop for a while, so we're fighting with this guy, and I'm fighting with him, just me by myself, and I get him cuffed up, and I get him in there. He's trying to fight me to get in the car, and I kind of ram his head into the door because it like all bets are off. Mm-hmm. You got a pistol on you, you're ready to shoot me, so I don't care how I treat you at this point. So I get him in the car, and after a couple of minutes, cavalry shows up, and unbeknownst to me, there's another guy inside that saw him doing this. That was one of his coworkers. Knew that he was coming outside to kill me. Never got on the phone, called 911, never said a word. So all of my the assists get there, all the cars get there. We go inside, and this was like a fucking vacant warehouse almost, but it's a truck rig shop. So we go and we find this guy, and they both have warrants. And the gun this guy used, this was in 2005. This gun was stolen from Texas in 1980. And it was still actively stolen 25 years later. So we get him, get him out and get him cuffed up and charge him with like UUW, assault first, a bunch of other stuff, and they only issued on us, half the charges, which was BS. But that was, early in my career. That was one of the first times somebody ever pulled a gun on me, but not the last time. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know how to process how I felt after the fact because I really want to hurt that dude. But people kept saying, you should have shot him. You get 3 days off. And I'm like, and then when we went to court on it, and I was like, I told the judge, well, they let me talk or whatever. I said, two things. I told his attorney, two things saved your guy. I said, God and my conscience. Mm-hmm. Because I know he was drunk. Mm-hmm. Probably wasn't in his right mind, but he knew enough to know what he was doing.
Make the threat, yeah.
But I got to him so fast, he didn't get a chance to get his gun out. But the fact that you showed me and said, you about to have a problem, that means you're ready to kill me. So not today.
Yeah.
And, stuff like that didn't happen every day, but that happens in the same district. Yeah.
It happens. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I had maybe 4 or 5 years on at that point.
Yeah.
I'm still young.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, that stuff happens all the time. I mean, not all the time, but way more than anywhere else.
You don't hear about it, yeah.
Way more than anywhere else you're going to ever go to. I'm just thinking of stories that I have like that. But so moving, so you got 5 years in the 6th district. How many more years did you work there?
I did almost 9 total.
Okay. So then after that, you moved to housing?
Yeah, went down to housing.
How long were you there for?
I was in housing a total of 5 years, but I was in housing 2 different times.
Okay. For the people that don't know, explain a little bit about what housing is in the city and how they do things.
Our housing authority unit handles the project areas of the 6th district. I mean, of the 4th district. The Bluemeyer housing complex, LaSalle, O'Fallon. It's not called O'Fallon. Preservation Square, and the Bluemeyer apartment complex. They're all like townhouses now. It used to be high rises and a bunch of rampant crime and stuff like that. But our unit was assigned just to handle those projects. We didn't operate anywhere in the city other than they had their own private policing, so to speak.
Almost almost like a directed patrol like type of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we weren't allowed to make arrests outside of, unless you saw something on view. But we had to, we stayed in those four secluded areas or whatever of the city.
I mean, that's like a whole different type of policing. Like, I feel like you're more focused in, like it's more directed,
Yeah, we had 2-man cars, so everybody had a partner. I was 41 sometimes. 41 means you're riding by yourself. But we had two-man cars for the most part, and we had like what they call a bar ban list, to where if you're bar and ban, or you're in the bar ban list, it means you're banned from coming to that particular project or projects if you were in multiple places. And if we caught you down there, it's an automatic misdemeanor. You get so many, it's a felony. So
I feel like you become, so to speak, like closer with the residents. You know, like, oh, hey, that's such and such. That's
yeah,
you know everyone pretty much.
Yeah, we had to walk a foot beat. There wasn't much driving because you can only drive around in circles so many times. So we got out and talked to kids, and this is during the baseball card phase, and I passed out a couple thousand of them things. I still got some at my house in the drawer from like 2007.
Yeah.
But it was housing was fun. I guess back to one of my stories, my first day down there, we get a call for a shooting, and 5 guys get shot right at Dillon and St. Ange, right off of 14th Street. And this guy, the shooter, gets out. The car pulls up. There's 4 or 5 guys hanging out on this electrical unit, like they weren't supposed to be there or even be standing there. This guy pulls up, puts a hoodie on, gets out the back seat, walks up to these guys, and he shoots the first guy like right in his right eye. Shot him right in the face. Then he shot every other person. Got in the car and they just drove off. And nobody retaliated or fought because he shot every single one of them. One guy got shot in the butt, and another guy got shot in the hip, in the leg, and one guy died because he got shot in the face. That was my first day in housing. I'm thinking I'm leaving, all around and gunning in the 6th district, and I come down to the 4th district, which is partially downtown, and guy gets shot in the face. First day.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You always hear about that kind of stuff, and I never really made it downtown because I didn't really do a whole lot of secondary or anything like that down there. But the short times that I was down there, I did the cruising detail, and I did that kind of stuff, and I realized, like, oh man, like the 6th district isn't just, the bad spots. There's bad spots all over the city.
Housing was a different beast, but it was manageable. But we only had like a crew of 30 officers.
Yeah.
2 15-man crews, and 4 sergeants and lieutenant or whatever.
Did you guys do, like, was it 8-hour shifts the whole time, and then was there a night shift for housing, or how did that work?
Back when I was down there, we had an overlay squad. We worked overlay hours where we worked from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Okay.
And in between those times, like from 10 to 6, we handle it. But before we got there, the District 4 would handle it, or District 3 now would handle it. And then when we came on at 10, it was all us. And then once we got up at 2 o'clock, the night watch would handle it until we came back in the morning at 10, or whoever was working came back that morning.
Yeah, I never really had done much investigative work into how the housing stuff worked. I knew a few guys down there, but I just never had really asked too many questions about it. But that's a lot different. So then after housing, you moved on to a task force, right?
Yeah, FBI's gang task force, Squad 5. A lot of fun. Didn't get to be down there as long as I wanted to be. But we investigated gangs and how they operate, and we got all the information on top players and who was selling what, who was buying what, who was just causing a fucking ruckus in the city on the particular town, and that was nice. Got to do like some wiretaps and stuff like that, and a couple of gun buys, drug buys.
Um, where'd you guys primarily focus at in the city? Was it like kind of just all over? Did
It
you
was
guys
all, it
go
was
out
all
go outside the city?
it was all over. It was north side, south side. Couple of things on the east side in Illinois, but because we were with the FBI, so it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like we didn't have full reign. But
Right.
we stayed pretty much in the city, but we did some stuff over in the East St. Louis and stuff like that in Illinois.
It always intrigued me how much stuff like overlaps into other like, how gangs will converse with one gang but they won't converse with other, and some gangs will like. Did you see a lot of that? Like, was there a lot of, hey, this gang is cool with this gang all the way down here on the south side and stuff like
Man,
that?
you had some certain gangs, man, that a lot of their hierarchy was they had like gang meetings.
Yeah,
They meet up at Forest Park.
yeah,
Like 300 people were having a gang meeting at the zoo, and it's just
crazy.
like and they didn't know we were there, but we just sit
Hmm.
there and watch like this is a citywide gang meeting, and it's like who plans this? Like this, like this is like a
Yeah,
job.
yeah. It's it's so strange because I think that St. Louis is kind of unique in how their gangs work versus other bigger cities. Like LA obviously is completely different to what we have in the city, Because the city it seems like you have a lot of like subset gangs, like
Hmm.
a lot of like 62 East Coast Crips, but then they don't mess with other Crips a lot of times, but then they'll hang out with the Bloods and stuff like that, and
Yeah,
it
which is weird. That's
yeah,
why the like difference between LA gangs and St. Louis gangs is totally different because you
yeah,
got Crips and Bloods up there, but those are Crips and Bloods.
hmm
Down here, you got Crips that mingle with Bloods, and
but they won't mess with these other
yeah, and
Crips.
it's like,
It's so
and
strange.
they're like 2 blocks apart. Like
Yeah.
you can grow up in a and neighborhood I grew up in was primarily Crip neighborhoods, but
Hmm.
then a couple of blocks over on like Clarence and Kossuth, there were Bloods over there, but they were so small
Yeah.
that they didn't make any impact.
Yeah. I remember, 22-year-old me, little young white guy from the country, trying, talking to these guys, and I was genuinely curious on how it all worked. And I can't remember who I was talking to. It was someone over in, I think Walnut Park West. And
Mm.
I don't remember what gang he was talking about, but I was talking to him and I was like, so like what gangs are around? Like, are you cool with? He's like, oh no, they're not cool. Like we don't hang out with them. I'm like, but they're Crips. And they're like, no, that ain't how it works around here. They're like instantly schooling me like that's not how it works. Like we're only cool with the guys that we want to be cool with. It's not just because they're Crips, we're not loyal to the Crips type of thing. And I was like, that's so
Which
strange.
is weird. And
Yeah. That
even as a black person, I don't understand that because
yeah.
I ain't in no gang, but
Yeah.
I got to learn more about how they operate and how they
Hmm.
work, and I know how the recruitment goes and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
you got to have a mindset to to want to do more, be somebody different, than to be a follower.
Yeah. So you were only on that task force for
Roughly about 7 to 8 months before I got transferred back to the sixth district.
came back home.
Yeah, I was there for a month, and I got transferred to the first district.
Okay. How long were you in the first for?
Almost a year.
Okay.
No. I'm sorry. District 3.
District
I
3.
got
Okay.
I went to the third district. I was there for almost a year.
How was that?
It was different.
Yeah.
South side policing and north side policing are like
Different.
they're totally different.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
You got all the same crime, but up north you got more of the violent shit was up north.
Yeah.
The more violent.
Yeah.
They have homicides in the third and second and first, but up there
Yeah.
we had it almost every other day.
Right. Um, yeah, I remember, and this always sticks out to me. And I always use this story because I feel like it kind of encompasses all of the six because it wasn't strange to see, but I don't know. I probably had 2 or 3 years on, and you probably remember this because I'm pretty sure 12 area was working that night, so I'm pretty sure you were working. But there was a call. I think we were in maybe Mark Twain. We might have been, but there was a call for a shooting, and everyone's going. It was later at night, so everyone was kind of available and stuff, and everyone gets there. And I remember I was like the second car there, and Sergeant Mack had just pulled up right in front of me. So we go upside, and supposedly these guys got shot up inside. So we go inside, and I remember, I think it was me and Michael Hines. We go into the door on the right, like we kicked the door in because someone said they were shot. Well, it was actually the downstairs apartment. So we kicked this door in. We go upstairs. We're clearing the house and stuff, and there's like there's 4 people inside sleeping. We're waking these guys up and like all this and like putting them in handcuffs and stuff. So we get everyone in handcuffs, and then Mac's like, "Hey, we need more cars." Blah 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 blah. And I hear Mac downstairs yelling. I was like, oh, crap, Hines, it was downstairs. So we get all these guys, and then we're like uncuffing them and stuff like, hey, stay up here. There's a bad shooting downstairs. I was like, wait a second. How did you guys not know that there was...
Somebody got shot down.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, we heard the gunshots, but it's just normal. Well, come to find out, there was 4 people in that downstairs apartment that were killed. Just, I don't know if you remember that one at all or not, but it was like a bad, I think it was like a bad dope deal. And someone just John Wicked all 4 of these guys, and it was a mess. But I didn't even go inside because I already knew all the paperwork and stuff that was about to happen. I had a short memo about breaking into someone else's house, but I was like, yeah. And that upstairs apartment had bullet holes through it, and no one got hit, luckily. But it was crazy to me that those guys just went right back to sleep and heard all those gunshots and everything, and that was just the norm.
Like something that would terrify the hell out of you.
Yeah.
That's their normal.
Yeah.
And that's where stuff just gets off the rails.
And, and working up there, I even saw it myself a little bit. People get so desensitized to that kind of stuff. You see so many dead bodies, and then you're just like, what's one more? And I feel like that's kind of the culture up there, even with the residents. Like, and it's sad because like you see all these people and they're just used to it. Another shooting,
Mm-hmm.
and it just keeps happening. And
you remember all the homicide scenes we've been on where people they're filming and bringing their kids up there. Why would you want your kid to see somebody on the ground dead?
Yeah, it's almost a culture up there. It's crazy. The stuff when I first started out, I was seeing all this stuff and I'm like, man, this is crazy. Like I don't even know how to compartmentalize this, And then after year 2 and 3, I'm like, yeah, it is what it is.
Another Tuesday.
Yep.
And it's sad to say it that way, but like I said, most of you guys on my squad I was the only black person on the squad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With the exception of Gaines.
Yeah.
When he was there.
Right.
But you guys come from wherever you come from. Like you came from Illinois in the country, so you probably never really been around a lot of black people, and no fault of your own. But when you come up to a place like the 6th District where you see black people at their worst, because every call we get up there is somebody's nightmares. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
Our 3:00 appointment is somebody's nightmare, and it's like you don't want to group. I felt bad for you guys because you get lumped in with people calling you racist and stuff like that, but you have to have empathy for people because not everybody you see is on papers.
Yeah.
I used to work with a guy. The first thing he asked, and it was a white dude. Hey man, you on papers? And I told him, man, you can't ask everybody that because.
No.
Even before I became a police, I didn't even know what the hell that meant. And that would offend me.
Yeah.
Why would you think I was on papers?
Yeah.
And that's the first thing you asked me. You didn't even ask me my name.
Yeah.
And I used to talk to the younger officers, especially the white guys. I look, man, you can't just say what you want to say to people, and because it ain't gonna always go. No. This ain't TV.
I think when I learned it really fast, but learning that if you always start like you're behind. And because you are, I mean, I'm a white guy from, Vandalia, Illinois. Where the fuck's that at? Like, what do you know about what's up here? And that's how I always approached it was, I'm already behind. This guy's already lived the full life up here. He knows, what it's about. And if I always started that behind and I let them kind of lead the conversation, I always felt like it went 10 times differently for me. You don't let them take over the conversation, but if you let them lead it and feel like they're in charge and that you understand that they have a lot more life experience in that area, I feel like it always helped, and it always gave them the feeling that they were being understood, which I don't feel like always happens. A lot of the cops up in the north side, they get 3 years on and they're like, oh, I'm invincible. I was even that way a little bit, and that's just, it's the nature of the game. You always got to learn that balancing act of, I'm not always right, and I need to lead this conversation differently. Otherwise, you're going to make a name for yourself immediately up there, and people are going to start talking like, "Oh, Ledbetter, he's a douchebag,"
And you don't want that name
No,
because it'll follow you around your whole career.
it will.
Like when I was working with you guys, like even though we were on the same squad, we had different areas.
Mm-hmm.
And when you guys were working, I always liked it because
Yeah.
I always had something to do, especially when I was in the cruiser.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, Nelson and the rest of them guys here, so maybe busy today, so it's gonna be a good day. I'm just gonna 606. I'm you call, I haul.
Yeah.
But I always told those guys, and I look at guys like Nelson or whatever, and I think like, man, you could do so much more if you just step outside the box. Don't just put everybody in. Not everybody's up here selling dope or doing wrong or has a pistol on them. You gotta lay low, think back, set a plan up, and a lot of people that y'all caught, y'all had a plan. Y'all went out literally and figuratively hunting.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you don't know what you'll do today, then you're gonna have a long day. But y'all hit it early, hit it often, then you made it out. But you just gotta have compassion for people, man, because not everybody can help their situation.
I think that was the most valuable tool that I felt like I ever had, was being able to put myself not in their shoes, but at least understanding where they were coming from. We were talking about a kid earlier before we started recording and stuff, and that kid still to this day tugs on my heartstrings. I still have people check in on him, see where he's at. He's still running through the system, but that kind of stuff, like being able to talk to those guys and understand, that they really did feel like there was no other option for them but the gang life or sell drugs and stuff like that. And I feel like even if you don't feel like you got anything out of it, I feel like they always got something out of it, just because they understood that you took the time to sit down and talk with them, which is not a lot of what, SWAT comes in and scoops up a bunch of these guys. They're not doing that, I mean, they got a job to do. They're going to take them down to Justice Center Brooklyn. They're not going to come back and check in on them. And I feel like that was one of the more valuable tools. Is they'd see me roll back down and be like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And they'd be like, "You remember me?" Like, "Yeah, I arrested you the other day." So I just feel like that was something that I always tried to hold on to a little bit. And I feel like it because I always felt like I was always starting from, the back, because my color, not having experience even in the city, that was a big thing. So just being able to relate to people, or at least try to put yourself into their shoes before that kind of stuff happened. But it's a big one.
You know what the hardest part of my job was?
What's that?
Locking up other black people.
Yeah. No, I understand that. Yeah. I don't understand it, but I can see. Yeah.
Because I had to, even with all of the protests we dealt with, the George Floyd and the Michael Brown, and I was there for all of that. And when you're black and you're a policeman, you kind of get it from both sides. Like from the white guys, you kind of too black to be a part of the blue. Yeah. Then from your community, are you just trying to be white? And it's like, man, my mama live on this block. I grew up in this street.
Yeah. Like, I have a right to be here to make things better.
This is my job, but it's not my life. I don't just go home and let me turn on Cops. Yeah. Even though I watch Cops. But, but I want the people to, I want to make a difference, and I don't know who I helped, but I know I saved a lot of people. I locked up a lot of people, but I was always fair to people. If I caught you dirty, you was dirty. I wasn't going to put shit on you. I wasn't going to add nothing to it. Yeah. And like all my reports were like, I even told a couple of your guys when they was like, "Hey, were you, read a report?" And I was like, "Hey man, I didn't do that. Yeah. I wasn't up there."
Take that out.
It's not no disrespect to anybody, but if I wasn't there and I didn't do it, I can't sign off on it because I got to testify to that. And then some people, rub the wrong way a little bit, but that was just me.
Yeah. No,
If I didn't do that, I'm not going to say I did that.
Yeah.
Because I got to go out and score and say, yeah, I saw him have this gun in his hand and it was in his right pocket. You know, it's like, no, I
Yeah.
wasn't even there for that. I just picked this dude up when y'all put him in the car and I took him to the station.
Yeah.
I ain't had nothing to do with what y'all had going on.
I think that's a good point. Is as cops, especially on the north side, you're writing so many reports, you're doing all this, you're having so many arrests and everything, and they just get used to the, hey, here's this, copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. I know when I wrote reports, there was some stuff, you know, you got that first paragraph on this day, blank, 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 officer such and such, blah, blah, blah.
If you had a similar arrest, you can do that, but to do it every time you lock somebody up,
I like to write each one of my reports
just how it happened.
Yeah, and I like to, you know, I'd use that first paragraph, and then after that, it was all brand new. I didn't like to copy off of reports because of that kind of stuff, you know. You get people that would be like, oh yeah, I think Webster was there, they just added in, like, and I 100% was so happy when we got body cameras, because I feel like that took so much more, like, I don't know how you felt, but when the human interaction became so much more, you're not in your notebook writing. You know what I'm saying? I'd watch my body camera after everything. I'd just sit there and talk to them. Hey, tell me what happened. They tell me. I watch my body camera later and write the report off the body camera.
Body cams, they didn't deter me or make me feel any kind of way. The only thing that got me is I was, you know, dropping an F-bomb here and there. But that's the only thing, you know.
Yeah.
And that's probably the only thing that I guess changed me over the years was before I became a policeman, I rarely ever even cursed, but then now it's every other word is like, fuck this and that and look at this bitch and slow down, mother. And it's like, I just can't get it out of my system because, you know, I don't blame it, but it's just like, that's just the nature of the beast. And it's like, you gotta try to separate who you are and from what you do.
100%.
Because they can be the same person, but you can't live both of them at the same time. All the time, I should say. Yeah.
Were you ever an FDO?
No.
You should have been. You'd have made a good one. I always thought that, man.
Everybody always tell me that. I was acting sergeant a few times, and I did help train. I helped train. I helped train Cal Mack. Yeah. But because when he came out, I was in the 3rd district. Is when Cal came out, and like I said, I just never had the. I wouldn't say the inkling, but I had kids and I had a wife at home, so I got off. I wanted to go home. I couldn't be responsible for helping this guy work on this and work on that.
Figuring out how to write an accident leaving the scene, you know, within 30 minutes instead of 2 hours.
Bruh.
Spit it out. No, I totally get that.
But I would help officers.
100%. I always remember that. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. No, I always loved having you around. People like you and some of the older guys that were around to help out and kind of filter in when there wasn't a sergeant or there wasn't an FTO around. That always made things.
Sound old, man. Some of the older guys. I'm only 48, man.
It don't take long to get old in that job.
Nah, bro.
I remember hitting my 3-year mark, and I'm teaching all these guys that are coming right out of the academy, you know, they're just getting off FTO, like helping them with stuff. And I'm like, man, I just got 3 years on.
I was just doing this.
Yeah. So, no, it's, you grow up fast in that job for sure. You know, I was in the academy when I was 21. So I was like the baby, like even in the 6th district for a while. I was like the youngest kid for a while. And I just remember like holding on to that for a little bit because everyone was like, oh yeah, Ledbetter, he's young. Because whenever I came out, Kelly Smith was my FTO, and it was like we still had 13 area then, so it wasn't relief squad. So there's several guys on there, and I don't think we had a sergeant at the time. So like Charlie Wall was filling in for me and stuff like that, and then we got Damon Willis, which was one of my favorite sergeants.
Damon was one of my first partners.
Yeah, I love Damon. He was a great sergeant. He was a great sergeant. I remember. I got a call down on Natural Bridge, and it was an arson, and I hadn't really dealt with one of those, so I was like kind of asking him questions, and he's like kind of filling me in on stuff, and then someone else caused a ruckus right up north for me, and he went up there to supervise. He's like, just shoot me a text if you got any trouble or whatever. It's like, all right, And then I remember him driving past, so he was following the cruiser down to the Justice Center. For whatever reason, something happened, and they stopped, and they opened up the back of the cruiser. No, ambulance. They opened up the back of the ambulance, and this guy gets out, takes off running. And this is like, I can literally see it. And I remember seeing Damon get out of his car, chasing this guy across the bridge in handcuffs and stuff. I was like, man, that's a sergeant right there. You know, you don't see that every day out of a sergeant.
Yeah, Damon was just like Cal Mack and Rumsa.
Yeah.
They were just like, they were, even Jason Bernhorst, they were sergeants that were still street guys.
Yep.
They would still chase you.
Yep.
You know, put out a foot pursuit. And
I think that was a very important thing, like seeing the supervisors get out there and help, not only help you, but do it too. You know, it's a big deal. It's a big deal to see, especially for the younger guys, you know, that are out there grinding every day, and they're like seeing their supervisor get out and do it, and they're like, okay, you know.
Because we didn't have any supervisors, at least when I was there, even when you were there, that just was a red pen guy. We had supervisors that just got out there and did the job and helped you, and we got it all done, and we went home at the end of the night. Yep. Nobody, you know, was just like, take care of that, do this, do that, give it back. You know, they just they helped you and ran some people down, cuffed them up. Hey, book this dude, book that dude, and that's how we did it. You know?
It's a big thing. Yeah. Well, I always like to end the show with a couple things. One, if there's a younger officer watching this podcast, what advice would you give them?
Do your job as if your mom and dad was always looking at you.
Yeah.
Because if you don't want to disappoint your mom and dad, you want to disappoint anybody else.
Absolutely, 100%. No, I totally agree with that. I think that's some great advice. You know, I mean, seeing the age we're in now, and seeing some guys still so willing to push it every once in a while, definitely that's a good thing to keep in mind. You know, just act like everyone's watching. You know, not only your mom and dad, but everyone, because in all reality, policing still has the spotlight of the U.S. for sure, and we always will, and we're always held to a higher standard. So that's definitely some great advice.
I always say, man, you got to be half crazy to be a policeman. You got to be you're missing something up there, but everybody's not built for it. Everybody can't do it, but if you even attempt to make a difference in somebody's life, every other day or every day, then you're halfway there.
100%.
Just showing up to work. Yeah. Because you got to think about it. We're coming to somebody's worst nightmare, their worst day. You know, I can't even tell you how many times I've been on a scene where a kid then got shot, or somebody's only son is gone, only daughter, or, you know, I've had so many calls, man, where people have got, you know, murdered by people that they knew, like their families or their childhood friends, and it's like, how can you tell somebody that you know, man killed, you know, JB over here over $5, or some weed, or a girl, y'all grew up together, you know, played in the same pool and was like best friends and brothers, and then y'all fall out over the pettiest stuff, and now you can't take that back.
No. There's a lot of that.
I want to stay 30 years, man, but and I'll tell you one of the reasons why I ended up just calling the career at almost 21. We get a call down at the Super 8 Motel over off Grand. Yeah. And we get a call for a child that's not breathing. This little boy had just turned 2. And his mom was a young white girl, left him with his dad, this black guy. And the dad was living in the motel that his mom was paying for. Dad was like, you know, didn't have a job, just he out there. This mom was out dealing with another black dude, just on a date, whatever, had been going all day. And to get his son to go to sleep, he gave him like cough syrup. And you can't give any child under 2 years old or younger anything. And this little boy was so heavily doped he couldn't hold his head up, and he suffocated and he died.
Yeah.
Choked on his own, you know, insides and died. And this little boy he was biracial, so he was pale as hell. He was blue. And we get there, and his mom shows up, and she's, "What happened to my baby?" This and that, and she's screaming and hollering, and feels like she's crying. But all the time I'm talking to her, not one tear fell. So is this like fake rage? Like your baby is gone, and Ian Master working on him, and we were there for over 40 minutes before we even left to go to the hospital. Took him to Cardinal Glennon. It was me and Chapel.
Okay. Yeah.
And Brainhorse was the sergeant. We get there, and he told us, keep him abreast. And they pronounced his kid probably an hour later. And I got the mom in my car, and she's calling her mom and her dad, who live in Illinois somewhere, like maybe an hour or two away from here. And she's talking to him, "Mom, my baby going up." And I just told her mom, she was out, around with this guy, and left this dude with his dad, who she know wasn't going to take proper care of him.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out that she didn't have custody of one of her other kids before this, and this was a young girl. And after that, I was like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
And this was at the end of year 19. So when 20 was rolling up, I was like, yeah, I got to go.
Yeah.
Because I can't watch this without wanting to just strangle him and her, and just like.
At some point, you start to lose a little bit of yourself too. I feel like, you start to sacrifice a little bit of yourself, and you just got to weigh the options of, is this what's right for me and my family? I hear so many officers, when they hit that mark, they're just like
my oldest kid is 27. My youngest kid just turned 10.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I can do this 10 more years and get my full 75% pension, and but I'm like, nah, I got to do something else while I still got a little youth left in me, because this ain't it. And I don't miss the job. I miss the people. And like when what happened with you guys, that kind of, I wouldn't say kind of, they really tore me up, because we weren't there.
Mm-hmm.
And I always called you Colin Lambetter.
Yeah.
Never called you, because you always called me by it. And then when I saw you in the hospital, tube in your mouth, and you've been through the worst thing ever, your mom goes, "You know who that is?" And you had lost some of your memory.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, "Yeah, that's Aaron Webster." And like, my eyes are all teared up.
Yeah.
I'm like, you've been through all this horrendous shit, and you know who I am.
Yeah.
So obviously I meant something to you at some point.
100% you did.
And I'm just like, man, I was there for you like, what, 3 days, three different times. And
my mom still talks about that. Yeah.
And I was just like watching a little brother, even though we didn't work together all the time. We were there at least 3-4 days a week.
Yeah.
And I just, man, like, bad things happen to like the best people. And your mom was sharing all the stories about, when you were doing not track, but when you were a goalie, and how
soccer,
you got kicked in the head. And I was just like, dude can't catch a break.
Yeah.
And I think about Nate, and I'm just like, man, like, I wanted to be there to help you guys and like being there with you, because we could have just stopped all that shit before it got out the city. But you can't say coulda, woulda, shoulda. But I just hate that it took two good guys off the street.
Yeah.
And two hard working guys, and some people, they made it. Well, they knew what they were doing. They would take this job on, but you don't wish no ill will on nobody.
No, never. Yeah. It's I wanted to say that the city's going to get better one day, but can only hope.
St. Louis, man, you just gotta keep praying for St. Louis, man, because it's always going to be racially divided.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the powers that be are going to make sure it stays that way. And I don't know why, but until we fix that, it's going to just be what it is.
Yeah.
I think go ahead.
That's a great place to end. I mean, pray for St. Louis.
Yeah.
I mean, for real. Yeah. All that stuff. Well, thanks for coming on, Webster.
No problem, man. Anytime, man. Anytime.